Today's video games are becoming increasingly realistic. I remember when this was top of the line. There's no denying it, in-game graphics have made tremendous strides. And in the midst of all this progress, retro games are making a comeback. While they may not be AAA titles anymore, they're cheap and easy to acquire, and they tug at our heartstrings. Most people tend to download classic games off Virtual Console, Xbox Live Arcade, and PSN that they enjoyed when they were younger. But sometimes you just want a cheap new old game to play on your current-gen console. Without the pretty presentation that newer games possess, and the absence of nostalgia, you may not enjoy your classic game purchase as much as someone else whose childhood memories help to sugarcoat every aspect of the game. That's why we bring you non-nostalgic reviews. We're going to review classic games that are now available for download that we have absolutely no past experience with, to find out if they have still passed the test of time. The first game up for review is Final Fight. Its original console release was on the Super Nintendo in 1991, and it's now available for download on the Wii Virtual Console for 800 Wii points. The premise of Final Fight is that the new mayor of Metro City, Hagar, is a former champion street fighter and promised to deal with the city's street gang problem. When his daughter Jessica is kidnapped, he tackles the problem himself on the streets, along with his future son-in-law Cody. You can choose to play as either the hamburger and baked potato-loving Hagar or the spinach and milk-loving Cody. Unfortunately, I naively assumed that this game was a two-player game. Hey, I'm playing all by myself. Maybe it's arcade style and you're supposed to press start.
Alright, I'm pressing start.
Oh, it says 2P. Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's back again. Did I just kill you? Confusingly enough, one of the baddies in this one-player game is named 2P. But I guess it would have helped if I'd paid closer attention to the game description beforehand. 2P's odd name is a result of him being based off of Player 2 in Forgotten Worlds, another Capcom game which featured two nameless characters. To add insult to injury, 2P is quick, tough, and smart. He and his pal swap buddy Jay will attack you at the most inopportune times. The most common enemies are Simon, Spread, Doug, and Jake. They're pretty easy to defeat, and you'll often find them hanging out just waiting to get beat up. There are a variety of other enemies including Slash and Axel, who will often attack you from behind, a family of Andre the Giant wannabes, and a couple of others. Oh, and we can't forget the two skinny acrobatic punks, who are famous for replacing this well-proportioned duo from the original version of the game. There's still a lot of confusion surrounding the true gender of these two individuals. Some say they were transvestites from the very beginning, while others say that they were reassigned as male transvestites for the American localization of the arcade game, since hitting girls is rude. Either way, they were completely removed from the North American version on the Super Nintendo, because there was some uncertainty as to how rude hitting a transvestite may be. Cody and Hagar have different sets of moves at your disposal to pummel your way through all these enemies. But there's only 2 buttons, so it won't take you long to figure them out. Each character also has his own special move, but it deplenishes your health so you can't abuse it. In true beat-em-up fashion, it is always best to approach your enemies on an angle rather than head-on. This makes grappling baddies a lot easier and you'll avoid getting hit in the process. I found the controls for picking up the bad guys a little weird. You just walk into them. You can find weapons and food inside anything that breaks, and there are plenty of different weapons to pick up along the way. I think it's funny how Hagar holds the sword. For such a huge guy, he has such a dainty grip. There are 2 bonus levels in the game, and they are both fun distractions. In the first one, you smash up some dude's car.
Oh my god.
And in the second, you smash your way through a number of sheets of glass and hope to make it to the end of the hallway. Once you do, yeah, bonus! While the bonus levels are a show of brute strength, nothing beats this. Now that's how a mayor makes an entrance. The boss battles in this game are incredibly difficult, with the exception of the first boss, Thrasher, who is basically like a normal enemy except wimpier. The only way I could beat every other boss in the game was if I made it through the entire round without losing much health, so that I could use up all my lives on the boss battle. You only have 3 continues, and using one takes you back to the very beginning of the round, because there are no checkpoints. Thankfully, you respawn on the same screen when you lose only a single life. Every boss has his weakness, but generally you have to be skilled to exploit it. This is why I used up so much health and so many lives during the boss battles. In conclusion, Final Fight obviously would have been better if it had 2 players instead of pulling a Double Dragon 1 on us, but it is still a quality beat-em-up. However, the game is more of the same over and over again. There are no enemies that are unique to specific areas of the city, so you're beating up the same baddies throughout the entire game, and you don't gain any new abilities as you progress. John and I both found it rather difficult, so if you like to beat your games, you'll have to put a lot of time into it. Luckily, there's only 5 levels to make your way through. The baddies aren't random, so you can use this to your advantage by nailing down a good attack pattern for each round. The different parts of the city are diverse, so you always have a fresh background when you're fighting, with a good soundtrack to boot. Even though the Super Nintendo controller has 6 buttons, you only use 2 of them in Final Fight. I think they could have used more of them in order to perform some of the different moves such as grappling and your special move, but I guess they were staying true to the arcade version. Now for me, the lack of co-op is a bit of a deal breaker, as I think it would have added a lot of replayability. Having beat it on my own, I don't think I'll be replaying it again. So if you're a fan of beat-em-ups or Capcom and want to play a challenging game by yourself, definitely give Final Fight a try. Happy gaming!